From the makers of Relevant Magazine, it's the Relevant Podcast, and we're live.
It's February 5th, 2019, and it's the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and here with me in our Orlando studio on the ones and twos, our illustrious engineer, my brother, Chandler Strang.
Hello.
Over there, holding down the video front, Clark Flippo. He says hi. Our Don Pardo, our live MC for the day, Amy Fulbrook. Good job, Amy.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Amy.
On the Skype line from Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
Let's see, from Nashville, Tennessee, Annie F. Downs.
That's it. Wait, now that we're video,
Yeah.
I don't get all the things?
That's right. Too many
I need you
people.
to try that again. Try that again.
From Nashville, Tennessee, author, speaker, podcaster, cowgirl extraordinaire, humble
With the
servant,
mug to
Annie
prove
F.
it.
Downs. Wow, that's amazing.
Annie F.
A lady
Downs.
from a place.
And look,
Annie F.
back
Downs.
from the dead in Gainesville, Florida, Eddie Big Cat Koffolds. Hey, buddy.
Am I wearing pants? You don't even know. So a waist-up shot, and this is my time.
I do see that you have a very nice printer behind you. That's good. All your
But
printing
I think
needs.
it's on a djembe, maybe?
I can
Is it
respect
djembe?
It's on an all-copper djembe. This is my least favorite part of this is I didn't want you all in my house because now you're just looking around, seeing my junk. But yes, welcome to my office. It's good to be
Speaking
back,
of,
friends.
Jesse, you really turned it up, buddy. That is
Yeah.
a
You better
serious
believe it.
scene you set
You
back
better believe
there.
it. Not only that, have I turned my space up. I am also on my third Starbucks tall boy. Right now, I'm just getting jazzed up. A lot of energy. My heart could explode during this.
Yeah.
I need live. We're doing video. We're doing live. We need high energy today, guys. Come on. You got the memo. Over caffeinate.
It's a cry for help. I mean, it's 10 a.m. One cup of coffee is fine.
I'm not trying to be ugly, but you also showered, Jesse, which is nice.
First in a week. Took the weekly.
really
Took
nice
the
hair.
weekly did this morning. Yeah.
I will say I do
Took the
enjoy
weekly.
that in the background, Jesse, there's
yeah.
the Edison light bulb. So cool.
Yeah.
But also a $300 magazine weight because that's a real...
That's a really nice microphone. That's exactly right.
I spared no expense for this background. You know?
Yeah.
Yesterday-
I think I need to up my background game.
Well,
Sorry,
okay.
Cam,
First of
go.
all, we
You do.
have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, we talked to Bob Goff. Bob Goff is the guest on our unedited podcast this week, and we wanted to bring the wider audience part of that conversation because it was so amazing. So Bob Goff is coming up later. We also have a fun interactive listener game coming up at the end of the show you won't want to miss. Hey, for those of you listening to the podcast like normal, later on in your car or at the gym or whatever you're doing, we are streaming live. That's why the intro is different. That's why everything's different. We are live right now on video every Tuesday morning from now on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. You can join us on Facebook Live and watch us do an audio show. I think we're going to be rolling it out to Periscope and YouTube Live as well in the coming weeks. But right now, head over to Facebook. You can interact with us. You can post comments. I'm looking at the comments as we go. So, I mean, if you guys are on Facebook right now, we're keeping an eye on them. I loved how the guy who reamed me and I posted about it a few weeks ago posted underneath the live thing.
Welcome to the show, man.
Welcome,
Let's hear
welcome,
more.
Jerkwad, to the Relevant Podcast Live.
Our live.
So I'm going to
Or
go
like
ahead
the
and
irrelevant podcast,
Double
right,
and down.
buddy?
Double and
Nailed
down.
it.
I'm going to go ahead and delete this guy. Yeah, he's.
Are you?
Oh, heck yeah. This guy's banned forever.
He's not gonna. We need positive conversation. We need positive energy, Annie.
Just banned?
That's why
I like
I've
it.
drinking 7 Starbucks tall boys.
Yeah, that's I know.
Your face is so animated. I'm so scared about how much caffeine is in your system, Jesse.
It's lethal. I mean, it's like a real
Yeah,
problem.
it's so much.
I'm going for. Listen. I'm going for like a whole, because we're doing this live, I went for like a whole late show vibey kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for today.
Yeah.
Cameron, I was hoping you were asking me about a list I might have been working on. Old school Letterman style.
So, it's a little behind the
let's
scenes
hear it.
theater of the mind for those of you not watching, because Jesse, yesterday in a meeting, he was working from a different room in his house, right? We were in a
It was
video
crazy.
meeting, and we're like, why are you there? And he's like, oh, because Dana's upstairs remodeling my studio / home office for the live show. And we're like, and we just said, oh, cool. So she went to Home Goods and got a bunch of more nautical stuff, right? He got so offended
I said I live near the beach. What do you want? You can make fun of the nautical stuff all you want. I live a mile from the beach. I'm sorry. That's what people do around here.
Everywhere in his house is like distressed wood signs and like schooner wheels and like anchors and shells.
Wait, there's schooner wheels everywhere, Jesse?
As you would see in a charming bungalow in Nantucket. And it's vibing just like we want it to. It's very relaxing.
Right, I hear you. But to Dana's credit, I think it's really important because we have talked about maritime law on this show almost more than anything we've ever talked about. Yeah. And so I feel like it's a real understanding of the core of the show, which is just kind of the rules that apply when you're on international waters. We've talked about this. So bravo to Dana.
As we are sitting right now, I could swim into international waters within minutes should I be implicated in a crime domestically. That's the reason I live where I do. And my escape vessel is really close by. It is, and that hits the nautical theme. What do you guys want from me? But anyway, she did redecorate the space, and I'm going to be adding little tchotchkes. It's going to look like a '90s Applebee's in here.
Yeah, I believe you. You're going to add shelving before we're done here.
Like a random boat oar with like a picture of like a shirtless crew team from the 1980s. Like who are those guys? I don't know.
That's what actually Annie has in her master bedroom. It's very disturbing. But sorry, I can't do stuff like that on the live show. Can I?
Did.
Oh
you
no.
Did. So there we go.
People said, "Oh, I want to hear the whole thing live." I'm like, "Well, now you got it.
We're walking the tightrope without the net."
Yeah, people.
That's right.
People don't realize. Like we kind of joke that Eddie was the person we always had to censor, or Jesse. Yeah. No, it's usually me saying the inappropriate thing that they protect us from.
100%.
That literally usually is an understatement.
I have Jesse. What was the term you called it? Gallows humor. Like when really terrible
like you're about
things.
to die, so you make a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I make morbid jokes about non-jokey things, and that's usually what we cut out, everybody. So that's what you're in store for.
Yeah, that is true. You do kind of take incredibly serious things and make terrible jokes about
very
them.
self-deprecating for sure.
Yeah.
But jokes that aren't like, oh, we're all laughing and saying too soon. It's like, oh.
Oh, Cameron.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We all kind
Cameron.
of go,
That hurt my inside a little bit.
There's a waveform that Chandler looks for when he's doing the edit of just the collective groan of all the tracks going.
Yeah, it just stops.
Oh, Cameron. Oh, that's it right there. That's the edit point.
5 seconds before that.
And so what's going to be different with the live thing? Okay, so let me give you an overview. Number one, we thought, who better to screw with the audience than our old friend Eddie Big Cat Koffoltz? He needs to be back on the show. Every Tuesday, Eddie is going to be an ongoing member of the cast once again. We're very excited.
Play the djembe, Eddie. When's the copper djembe getting a little spin for us?
It's gonna really depend on how things go in the show. But I am drinking something in this tumbler, and depending on if it works or not, we'll get the djembe out.
Djembes say to me, mission trip 2005. That's what djembes say to me. I think everyone who went on a mission trip in the early 2000s came home with some version of a djembe.
No, totally. A very culturally now they're all woke, and so now they're in their house.
And every one of those djembes was made in China, though. I mean, that's the thing about the tchotchkes in the villages in Africa. If you flip it over, made in China. Almost every one of them.
Because the African artisans understand economics as well, and they're like, well, we can just import this for a half a penny and sell it to that dumb middle school kid.
Tourist haggle us down.
Yeah. Oh, don't haggle me down to $10. 7,000% markup.
It really is jarring. You go to all these little villages and there's like this little tiny bungalow where they're selling what looks like handmade artisan things, and you're like, that's the exact little statue that I saw at the other village. And then you flip it over and there's a sticker on it, and you're like, I can't believe that. Everybody bought it thinking it was some local artisan
business.
Yeah, it's like every Chinese restaurant in town that's like the takeout restaurants.
Yeah.
It's the exact same menu. It's the exact same everything. And you're like, this isn't mom and pop. This is one person that controls all of the Chinese food and all of
it's so good.
So salty and so good.
I'd love to talk about. Oh no, go ahead. I was going to talk about moisturizing, but you go ahead.
He was making. Cameron has a list. Cameron's not the one with a list.
No, I'm just saying the overview. What can people expect every Tuesday now? The other element is going to be interactivity. The fact that we're going live is so we can interact with you guys. So, we might do a listener of the week, but we might do a game. We might do a rapid fire. I don't know. There's just a lot of ideas in the hopper of ways that we're going to pull you guys in. So if you're at work, just put us on over in that corner of your screen and, chime in. And I'll be watching the comments as we go, and, we'll be doing that as well. But then we'll pull you guys in as well on the feed. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
That's what I do during the World Cup is I have one screen up with soccer and I have one screen up with work.
Because it's so boring, you have to distract yourself with something. Like I don't want to miss the combined 90 seconds of scoring in this 4-hour tournament.
I'm never going to win you over. I'm tired of trying. It hurts.
I canceled my MLS tickets, Annie. I'm done.
I know you did, and I never even got to go to a game with you. I hate it.
Well, we can buy individual ones if you come back, but I mean, like, I gave it a solid 4 years. I tried. It just did not take. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's fine.
So, Eddie,
I have a question. Are we going to, I don't know if I can look at the comments in real time. I mean, I know that I can technically, but in terms of my own headspace.
Distract you? Yeah.
Yeah. Is somebody else looking at them?
I have them up right here. If you see me looking this way, I'm looking at the comments, and then if I'm looking this way, I'm looking this way.
Cokes, probably.
Oh my gosh.
We're out of Diet Cokes today.
Right,
I feel very off. I have water and coffee. I don't know what to do.
You're out of Diet Cokes?
Yeah,
I feel like your body's going to go through aspartame withdrawal very soon.
As you watch the show.
You didn't send somebody to get you one? I don't understand.
Today's the
what's
Costco
happening.
run. We just didn't overbuy. I came in this morning and we just
Cameron,
done.
But before we move on to Slice, because I know we got a packed show.
We got a packed show.
We got a fun game coming up. I'm very excited about this game. But you and I were talking before we got started. It'd be fun to, hypothesize a little.
No. You and I were talking. Let's be honest. We were like, you told me Eddie's coming back. I was like, where has he been? Like, what has he been doing for the last 4 months? How come he fell off the face of the earth? I asked you, Jesse, do you know what Eddie's been up to? And you're like, I don't. He's super mysterious, but I have some ideas.
Yes.
Do you have 10 of them, maybe?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I have here the top 10 places Eddie Goff or what he's been doing for the last several months. Okay. Number 1.
I love it when you do stick.
You do stick
and can't commit to it.
Can't do it.
Go.
Number 1 was just now able to escape the Firefest site. Hey, it's time. You guys saw it. Got out of it. Want to see Blink 182 this
Wait, why'd you start with number 1? You're supposed to go 10 to 1.
Excellent. I hope they're all like this.
Number 2 was accidentally co-hosting the Rev-alent podcast after the last 4.
And you just didn't notice it wasn't us?
Oh, man.
It's weird mix.
Hard to hear.
I'm not even going to give you. You just keep going.
We're going to get back on track here.
That was your second one. You know how to write.
Serving an extended sentence in Disney jail. Well, that could have happened.
Yeah, they did.
There is jail in Disney.
There's a Disney jail?
Yeah.
Be some holding area.
There's a whole underground world, Annie. I know I've
walked down there. Remember, I walked down there, but they didn't tell us there was a jail.
Yeah, there's Disney jail for sure.
Yeah, it's a
Has to
dungeon.
be.
I love Disney so
this
much.
one just says hand, foot, and Eddie. This one just says hand, foot, and mouth disease. I don't know. Don't know the status of that. That followed by lost in forest and just honey making. Just lost in forest and honey.
Move to Gainesville makes honey.
Running a failed and very dirty campaign for lieutenant mayor of your town. How'd that go? Not good for you. Okay, here we go. Training thoroughbred race pigeons, and finally the top 10 reason where Eddie was Space Force training. What do we got up?
Wow, you probably can't even tell us.
Yeah, it's what a list. What a way to kick off.
Where I've been.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Space Force training.
Just been here.
Yeah, but that's what you're going to say, whether you've been in Space Force training or not.
I think from the look of his room, it's been room decoration. Getting those 3 pictures.
Knee deep in Chip and JoJo resources, TV shows, books. Yeah, that's where he's been.
Eddie, bring us up to speed. How have you been? How's the move to Gainesville? How are things?
Yeah, it's going really well. I'd say the biggest things, like I'd said, I got a really solid moisturizing regimen because my T-zone was super dry up here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I figured that out. So that was
Did it get drier in Gainesville?
It did. Much drier up here. A lot cooler, a lot
This
drier.
was a T-zone sabbatical. You just had to. You need a solid 4 months to get that T-zone stirred up.
I also listened to Hamilton a little bit, kind of into it now. I know, Cameron, we had taken a pretty hard stance, but that's everything I've been doing.
Well, it's musical theater. I assumed you'd come around.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Hey, Eddie, have you seen it or just listened to it?
Just listen to it. I have not seen it.
Because I've had a big decision making of whether I want to listen before I see it or see it first.
I think see it first.
See it first. So I don't need to know any of the songs, any of the I mean, I don't know anything about it except Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, no, I think it all it's very clear. There's not a lot of like metaphor in it. It's just like, here's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
But truthfully, we're doing well. Brienne's doing great in law school, and we have really found a nice rhythm here and figured out life. And so that's it. I mean, it's such a boring answer, but we're doing great. I love it. I love Gainesville. It's very nice.
Do you?
That's great to hear.
I mean, it's all right. It'll do. It's not like home forever.
Yeah, you went from I love Gainesville to it's not home forever. I feel like that's two
all right.
really different answers about the
It's a
same
place.
city.
It is a location.
It
That
has
is,
a house there that I have my stuff in, so we're good.
It's doing just fine. Yeah,
Been a
it's
little unincorporated, little tract right outside of town, and very unsafe at night. But here we are.
The weirdest part of Eddie is that he just doesn't like. He likes being involved, but he does not want to be the thing we are talking about.
absolutely sweating right now under my arm. Get back to the.
It's so bizarre about you.
I got a question about the djembe. When did it become the printer holder? When was it like, okay, we're going to move the printer to the djembe because it hasn't been played in a while.
So
Like,
yes,
that is now the printer holder.
Our house in Orlando was like really like we spent a lot of time decorating it, but we also know we're only going to be up here for like 2 or 3 years, so we haven't like bought all new stuff. So we're kind of like, the printer kind of fits on that thing. But you'll not see it next week. It'll be gone. I will never do this again.
I can't. No, that's going to be the best part. Is we're going to pick apart your entire scene, and every week it's going to be brand new. You're just going to change it. It's going to be great.
And so I'm going to buy a $300 microphone to put on top of some magazines and
just
Edison lamp from the early 2000s, and we'll be good to go.
I've invested over $15,000 on those 2 tchotchkes alone, Eddie. So laugh all you want with your djembe printer holder.
Yeah.
Cameron, the problem we're going to have with you on the live video show is you have resting unfriendly face. And everyone's seeing you have resting unfriendly face.
You know what it is?
While
Because
you're
you're
having
reading
a
the
great
comments.
conversation.
It's because I'm looking at a rundown. I'm looking at the comments. I'm looking at people walking around. I'm trying to figure out if there's any crises on Mag Deadline today. I'm listening to y'all talk about decorating and T-zones, and I'm like, okay, there's other important things I need to get done right now in my head, and so I need to.
The rest of us have nothing better to do than talk about T-zones, but Cameron
The
is
aspartame withdrawal has already kicked in. Yeah, I got. Hey,
See,
listen,
the
I
Diet
got
Coke.
bad news.
This is Diet Coke.
Cameron, listen, I got bad news. I have a list of aspartame withdrawal symptoms
Okay.
that start with irritability and end with hand, foot, and mouth disease. So if I were you, I would at least get some spearmint gum or something to get a little bit in there.
I will say that
patch.
one of Jesse's 10 was terrifyingly accurate, and I'm not going to say which one, but
Wait,
it was.
you have to.
It was shocking.
Lost in the woods.
The honey.
Hand, foot, and mouth.
I'm not
Honey.
saying.
It's honey.
It's honey. I wish it was honey. I love when people make their own honey. It's so cool.
Oh, I'm really into tea now too. We can talk about that, or we can just move the show along. It's up to you guys.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
which was it? You're seriously not going to tell us?
Oh no, I was just kidding. None of it's true. You're crazy. None of it was right.
We're moving the show along. On the Tuesday episode is the one that we do slices. So it's time for.
Yes.
Where's the.
Slices.
There it is. Look at that. Look at that little live cue. We're going to work out the timing. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, what do you
I
have,
thought we were
Jesse?
about to go to a break, so that's why.
Hey,
Oh.
Chandler,
I was ready for something
Chandler,
else.
strike one.
Is Chandler in charge of the Diet Coke? Because
Noted.
that would be strike 2.
Yeah.
Did you get a Diet Coke? Is that what that is you're drinking right there?
That's water. That is refreshing.
Better life.
Filtered
Cheers.
water.
Water's the right thing to do.
All right.
It
So
I'm miserable
my-
right now.
My slice comes from us from the great state of Arizona and sort of the great state of New York, because there was a group, or the great state of Vermont. There's a group of guys in Vermont who are organizing a bachelor party blowout weekend at a ski resort there. One of their buddies is getting married. So, they're going to round up the boys. The boys are back in town, and they're going to go shred it up on the mountainside. One of their friends is named Will Novak, and he lives in Brooklyn. And they haven't seen him in a while, so they're like, "Oh, we got to get Will on for this, for this ski trip hangover type of weekend." So they email their good old buddy Will, and it's accidentally the wrong Will Novak. We've seen this before, where if you don't know someone's email, it's just AnnieFadowns@gmail.com.
You know what? I think that's right.
Amy to you. It's Amy to you, Jesse.
I think that's right. I think if you tried AnnieFDowns@gmail.com, you would get Annie F. Downs. But
if you try fadowns.annie@gmail.com, we'd have another Annie.
That's right.
And so that's what happened. It was a classic email address mix-up, and the wrong Will Novak was sent the Evite. Also, these guys are still using Evite. I didn't even know Evite was still a thing. That's like, to me,
still use Evite in my friend group.
To me, Evite is like the technology equivalent of free AOL CDs that come in the mail. Like, oh, this is a cool thing.
What would you rather use to invite friends on the internet?
Just an email.
Eventbrite.
Text message.
Text messages.
Paperless post.
Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook event.
Pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead with your slides, Jess. Go ahead.
Shockingly, Evite.biz is still in business. So, Will, he decided to say, "Hey guys, I know you're just joking, but real talk, I'd actually come." And so the other dudes in the bachelor party were like, "You know what? This other Will seems kind of cooler than the real Will. Like, I don't know if real Will would have done this with a set of strangers." So they decided to extend the invitation to Will. Not only that, they each chipped in money and set up a GoFundMe page, which has raised over $4,000 to send Will on this bachelor party. Don't worry, Will's a good guy. He said anything that goes over, he's going to donate to the groom. Speaking of the groom, even though this story just aired on local TV in Arizona, the groom, who lives in Vermont, is unaware that Mystery Will is attending the bachelor party, and that will be one of the big surprises. So the groom doesn't know that the other Will Novak is coming. So he's very excited about attending. Wills did say he was a little cautious at first. This is what he told his local Fox 10 station.
Fox 10's on it.
This is the biggest story in the state of Arizona right now.
I love local news.
It's a very slow. I had a great local news story this weekend. We had like the Super Bowl, and you know how you're watching and they do the commercials, and they leave like 1 30-second spot towards the end of the game reserved for like a local TV. Like down there, Cameron, it's like David Moss Toyota or something.
Yeah.
The production quality is noticeably different.
Yeah.
Like it looks like something went wrong with your TV when that one local one comes on. So this was for like a law firm that they crowdsourced it. But if you're like Doritos and Pepsi and you're crowdsourcing those Super Bowl commercials, you're getting like tens of thousands of entries. And, it's safe to bet that at least one of them will be usable in a 30-second window. If you're doing a local campaign for like a law firm you're getting like maybe a dozen entries, and you're going to be stuck with something really terrible. That's what happened. But the guy who starred in this it looked like if he shot it on an iPhone, the quality would have been better. Like looked like he shot it on a camcorder, then converted, like had a mess up in the conversion from the VHS to digital process, and then when it was like converted for the TV, it was like grainy and pixely. The jokes didn't make sense, but the local news was at his house where they were having a watch party. So that was the big story around here. Nothing else newsworthy going on in Virginia. That was.
I thought there was like a twist at the end, a real dark twist.
I just was like.
And Will Novak killed him
in Virginia. Please Google it. That is the only news story we want to talk about. But this is what Will Novak says. He said they were literally silly and over the top. They seem like fun guys. Like when I first got the email, I was like, is this just a bunch of 20-year-old frat boys? That was his caution. Yeah. Nope. This is a bunch of middle 30s and early 40s dorky dads who, just like me, want to have one last hurrah. Good for you, Will. Go show those dorks a good time, because Will looks like he's closer to the 20-something frat boy to me. So, I just love like.
And the original Will is going as well.
The original Will, and they're going to fight to the death. Night one. So 2 Wills enter one.
It's like when Seinfeld and the alternate, the Bizarro Seinfeld met, the George and the Bizarro George. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to replace the other Will, I'm afraid. The other Will's out of the friend group now.
A test of wills.
If I'm following along, he gets a mistaken email, writes back, "I'm in," and they're like, "Cool," and he shows up, and I saw this story. I think you're missing a big part of it. When he arrived, the entire local community rallied around it. It got him like a free Hummer for the weekend. A guy showed up at the airport from a local brewery and brought cases of beer for the guys for free. I mean,
Just
like
for
the whole city, it became a sensation that this guy showed up for the mistaken bachelor party.
That's how desperate we are.
I was going to say, y'all need more to do.
Did I miss something? Is there some sort of backstory to this guy, Will, that like is like?
No, it's people are so desperate, or people are so desperate for like a news story that resembles something good that the whole nation just rallies around it. We all were just subjected to Maroon 5 at a halftime show. The nation is desperate here for some sort of goodwill.
Don't you know that after Adam Levine took his tank top off, he was like, I wish I could put that back on, but now I'm stuck. I'm stuck here.
I think he was pretty into it.
I don't care how many tattoos you have. It's hard to look cool when you're singing the word sugar in a high Michael Scott falsetto. Like, it's very, very hard to look cool.
I got Gainesville tattooed right across my belly. It was it was just so moving to see California on his.
This is how desperate we have become as a country. This is as inspirational as the news gets right now. Like the whole state of Vermont just rallied around this guy who, got an accidental invite to a party and started going.
I've always wanted to go to Vermont. I've never been there. I've heard it's awesome.
Love the teddy bears. That's what they make.
Lovely. The maple syrup die for. To die for.
Yeah.
So good.
You just walk up to any tree.
One time the wrong Jesse Carey got invited to the fantasy football draft, and it was a hilarious story. He replied, and he was served a cease and desist from the league.
It was actually a young woman, because that's basically a lady's name. Jessie Byrne.
Her name was Carrie Jessie.
I just realized you have two first names. You have two women's first names. I've known you for 15 years. I didn't realize. I never dawned on me.
Because like Carrie Bradshaw and Jesse Spano.
They can both go the same way. There's tons of cool Carries. Isn't Carrie Hart a person?
I don't know.
Cool.
Who's that?
Carrie Hart? Who is that?
I don't know. I think it's a name that's in my head.
I'm not on Facebook.
And I'll tell you this. Yeah. He sounds cool. He sounds very cool.
Carrie Hart. I don't think so.
I think you're thinking of Gary.
Let's get him on the show.
I think you're thinking of Gary Hart from the 80s in like that sex scandal.
Scandal.
Yeah, political scandal. Yeah. Anyway.
Very uncool guy.
All right. What do you have, Annie?
Okay, so I want you guys to tell me real quick, what kind of cell phone experience did you have in 1999? Can you remember?
I had a cell phone. I had a Sprint flip phone.
I used my parents' just brick phone when going out, like to locations beyond 20 minutes.
My dad did have a built-in car phone in his Jeep.
Yes,
I loved built-in car phones. Like I'd want one now.
It's so much better.
It'd be so much easier.
I remember my dad.
Imagine still picking up that handle in the car.
Oh yeah, it was the best.
Right. So yes.
No. I was remembering the first cell phone I remember my dad having in the early 90s was like almost like a briefcase, like you carried it, like it was like the car phone one, but they took the battery pack out of the car. You know what I mean? Like, and you could carry the whole thing.
That's how my mom's was too. It switched between my mom's car and my dad's car.
It's only cool if it handcuffs to your wrist as well. Because you're like, oh, what's that guy got?
Silver case.
It's gonna call in a submarine strike at any moment.
Well, okay. So in 1999, Bill Gates made 15 predictions about technology. Have y'all read this article?
No.
It is fascinating. So remember what you know. What you know is we don't have the internet, really. There's AOL, and we have car phones.
And this is 15 predictions from 1999 for exactly 20 years in the future.
Yes.
So
and they are. Yes, they are so fascinating. I'm just going to read you a couple that I think are really interesting. One of them is he predicted mobile devices. But here's what he said. People will carry around small devices that allow them to constantly stay in touch and do electronic business from wherever they are. They will be able to check the news, see flights they have booked, get information from financial markets, and do just about anything else on these devices. How did he do that in 1999?
That was happening in 1999.
Yeah.
In 99.
Was it? Carrying around, there were no laptops in 1999.
Yes, there were.
Let's hear what else he's got. Let's hear what else he's got here.
Everybody.
I mean, that's like...
my Sprint phone had data. I mean, it was expensive, but I could get flight updates and stuff. I mean, it was like... And you could text message.
1999, Cameron?
Yeah.
Well, I predict that in 10 years, there's going to be an electric car. I mean, what's the deal? It already exists. Keep going. I'm so sorry, Andy.
Wow.
This isn't a good way for me to come back.
Hey, Eddie, I want to ask, how many billions of dollars do you have? How many? All right.
That djembe is made of solid gold.
All right, Andy, let's hear another one because I was impressed by it. Okay, let's hear it.
Please, 9 more.
Here's another one.
Haters gonna hate.
I can't pick one that y'all aren't gonna hate. Okay. Okay, here's one. He said there would be. Y'all are gonna hate all of them.
Okay, there are cell phones all over the place.
Water.
And you can do
Listen to this one. Listen to this. Water will be the primary thing people consume as a beverage globally.
Everybody's gonna eat vegetables and corn and meat and different kinds of dinner next.
Different types of dinner.
Chandler, I hate hearing you laugh that hard at this.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm sorry.
I can't. None of them will I ever feel confident.
There will be a hybrid meal between breakfast and lunch that people will refer to as brunch. I can't believe it. How did he do it?
I can't believe it. The future's now.
Okay, all right, Annie. Let's.
The future's now.
I think the thing that's most offensive is everything, but second to that is the Southern accent, Eddie.
Yeah. It was a little.
People can't tell the difference. It's almost perfect.
Okay. He also said there would be live sports discussion sites, which there were barely in 1999. There were
Live
chat rooms.
Sports discussion sites.
There
were
Andy,
chat
I think
rooms.
He's hedged his bets a little here. I think like time travel. Also, people will be able to call people using devices from their pockets. I can't believe it.
Y'all are awful. Okay, listen. Here's what he
Sport,
predicted about sports sites.
Okay.
He said, while watching a sports competition on television, services will allow you to discuss what is going on live. And that was, again, that did not happen in 1999. That was not happening when I was in college.
But chat rooms were ubiquitous back then. And so it's like, I mean,
Yes,
so
but
you have some
to be
sports
fair,
chat rooms.
Cameron, did you sit and watch television and talk about what you were watching on your chat rooms
and
like
listen,
you do on Twitter
1999,
constantly?
1999, if you're in a chat room, one of two things is going to happen. Your identity is going to get stolen, or else you're in some kind of very creepy Chris Hansen How to Catch a Predator situation.
Right.
You just stayed away. In 1999, you stayed away.
Or you fell in love, like in You've Got Mail, but whatever.
Okay. Also, let's talk about Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool Bill Gates calling it a sports competition.
Yeah.
Like it's a small point, but like there will be sports competitions available on your internet or whatever.
Sportsmen will engage in heated battles.
Yeah, you'll be able to watch polo from anywhere.
This is awful for me.
Televised
I found this
everywhere. Yeah.
I found these 15 things to be very interesting because when I thought about my technology life and what 15? I knew of. What?
There's 15?
Yeah, I'm not reading a single other one.
No, I want to know more. Andy, I want to know more. I want to see what kind of a genius he was.
Do the ones that really blew your mind.
No, I am angry at everyone. And mostly Chandler, because Chandler, you're usually on my team, and your laughter has been unkind.
I'm sorry.
Where's Amy? Is Amy still in there?
Annie, give us one more. Real talk. Give us one
There will
more.
be barbecue restaurants all over the place. Everybody eats barbecue.
Like if he would have predicted like something that it was technically feasible, but no one saw coming. Like let's say the Froyo thing. You know, like no one saw that coming.
Phones in your pockets where you can check your flights in the news. That Cameron is not right about his phone in 1999.
I'm just saying, like that was a plausible path. If someone would have said in the future you will pay for your dessert by weight, I'd been like, he's insane. This is the thoughts of an insane person. That will never work.
Andy, the phone. I remember my 1999 phone. It was SMS and texting was it, right? You had to do the 3 letters on per button sort of texting. But I remember you could text like Delta. You could like send a text to Delta to get an update sent back to you about.
Are you thinking 2009 or 1999?
1999.
1999. I think I don't even know if my house had a cell phone. Like anyone in my house.
I will date myself 100%. I graduated college in 98, and I remember getting my first cell phone in 98. Like I was like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Sprint had a deal, and I remember getting it then, and you could text and stuff for sure.
Yeah, I was a freshman. I was a freshman in college, and I remember having a little phone.
Yeah, I had a little phone, and I texted and called my friends. But there is no way we did anything but texting or calling or playing Snake.
But you have to remember too, like these massive tech companies have innovation groups that are working on the next wave of innovations, right? The iPhone came out in 2006. So we're only talking 7 years before the iPhone. You know they were working on that for 3 or 4 or 5 years before it was ready for market, right, at Apple. So you know Microsoft in 99 was thinking about the mid-2000s type technology usages.
Well, listen, he also predicted this. 15 years from now, pleated khakis, sweaters, and dorky glasses will actually be cool.
Really
It'll
cool.
actually be cool.
Really
so,
cool.
So lay off, everyone. Lay off.
So the last line of the prediction is, so lay off, everyone.
Annie.
The last line of my slice is lay off, everyone.
Is there one more that blew your mind?
No, absolutely not. Here's what. This is why I pick slices that I like, and I don't give a care if y'all like them, because when I like them, we have a great time, i.e. the Peep Factory tour. That is what I'm talking about.
Do you have an update?
I hate picking slices that I think y'all will like.
Man. Woo.
I thought for sure y'all would like that one.
I liked it.
I was about to say, Jesse approved it, to be fair. Jesse
liked it. I liked it.
Okay, I found it. Okay, I'm gonna fill in the gaps for her. Number 1, price comparison sites. That was a big one. Mobile devices. Number 2, like you said. Number 3, instant payments and financing online and better healthcare through the web. That hasn't.
Yeah, he predicted Obamacare.
He predicted WebMD. Personal assistance and the Internet of Things. That's a big one. So
that's different.
Yeah, the Internet of Things, like smart homes and stuff. That's huge. In 1999 technology?
When I thought they're gonna say that there were security cameras at houses before 1999.
No, but like Nest.
Do any of you guys know anyone who has a security camera in their house? Because
yes.
Nest
because
cameras.
in 1999,
No, I'm saying.
But now y'all are going to be nice to each other about it, and if I had said it, y'all would have for sure.
We're talking.
No,
we're talking about how great.
1999.
I'm trying to validate that this was a good selection,
nice
Annie.
impression of us. So let's hear it.
Online.
1999. Okay.
Number 5, online home monitoring, so like Nest cameras and stuff. Number 6, social media. There was no social media really. I mean, there was like some of those sites.
AOL. That was a close.
AOL,
see smoke
Friendster.
coming out of her ears.
Annie, this was a great slice.
How are you suddenly all on the same team?
Number 7.
We're on your team, Annie. We're on your team.
Number 7, automated promotional offers, which is basically AI. I mean, like you know, like the smart, like the algorithms that tell them about like what your buying habits are. Brilliant, right there. Well, you picked live sports discussion sites. Out of all of these, this is the one. Okay, that was number 8. Number 9, smart advertising. Okay, again.
My hands were sweaty. I didn't know what to do.
I've got to clean my hands.
The ones that I thought y'all wouldn't fight me on, because I thought of every way you'd fight me on every other one after that first one went down so hard.
And I'm sure Cameron's reading the Facebook comments and be like, guys, Annie is awesome, and the guys are big dumb jerks.
And they're so rude.
They are right.
Nobody has posted that yet.
Annie, we have all your books. We love you. Don't listen to the guys. That's what all of Facebook's saying.
We're all jealous and resentful because you brought a slice.
A really good slice.
Mine's got a laid back
to be nice to me now. You hated the slice.
I'll
find a different one next week.
No.
And and I will love it, and I will not care how y'all feel about it, and it'll be awesome.
I just think it's funny. Of the 15, and many of them are actual true. And like, how did he know that? You picked the sports discussion one to bring. I'm sorry, that's the only.
There'll be chat rooms. I will tell you, the problem that's happening is Jesse's was pretty boring and didn't quite fly like he wanted, and then mine is very, very not smart for what we're doing today. So what's happening is we're turning on you because we know that we have
out of insecurity.
Because when I make fun of other people, I feel a little bit better about myself. And
right.
That is just how I live my life.
There's one finger pointing at
I've
you.
had the worst slicey experience with Jesse. He's become such a slice czar about my slices.
Okay.
But then he backed off when the internet got mad at him.
Okay, hold on. I want to read the text exchange, Annie. If we're going there, how about this slice? Link. And I said, yeah, that works. Do you mind picking a couple of the most impressive? That was my reply, was it not? Was it not?
Too. I had more that I was going to read, Jesse, but then I got real insecure.
Okay, he's phoning it in on the last 5. Number 15 was business community software. I mean, Microsoft Office and stuff.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, but he's talking about like Slack and the thing y'all use. What's the thing y'all use?
We now use Google Hangouts chat. Google's taken on Slack, and it's great and free.
Oh. Well, yeah, that didn't exist. you'll have an answer. I don't think that existed in 1999, but I'm standing by. I don't think you could look at your flight on your phone in 1999.
But his number 12 is interest-based online sites. It's like those existed. I mean, there are sites that launched in the early 90s that.
I was reading a Boy Scouts site on Prodigy in high school.
And I was my identity was stolen.
Yeah,
but that's a story for another day.
I was also engaging in sports competitions.
And then he said his number 11 is online.
That was called show choir, Eddie. Call it what it is. That was called show choir.
Online discussion boards. Again, phoning it in there, Bill. Online discussion boards.
Handbells don't count as a sport, Eddie.
I wish any of y'all could make 15 predictions about 2039 that will be near as close as what Bill Gates just did.
In his area of expertise.
Nashville now.
Area of expertise. So.
Wow. The madder you get, the more southern you become. But anyhow, sorry, Cameron, you were saying.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is his area of expertise. This is what he did. He was a future. Yeah. I mean, this is his job. Relevant's been around 19 years. If you had forced me to predict how media consumption would change, and obviously technology disrupted things in a way we didn't anticipate, but
which is his entire predictions.
I know. But to show how good he is, to be fair, we tried to predict the future of media 20 years ago, and we went all in on people would be reading their news via fax machine, and we are still recovering. Right now, Eddie has one of those early models that we have created right on a gym bay. That's basically, they just stack up in people's basements. We went all in on the fax revolution.
Yeah,
it connects directly to my Tandy print
you had
shop.
to pay $300.
I'll never forget the cover story we ran in the winter of '99. Yeah. Fax. And it was a cover story, and it was a list of facts about the coming facts.
Do y'all have a fax machine at Relevant? I feel like a handful of people still pass out like a card. Will give their business card and they don't have a fax number on it.
Hey, yeah, nice to meet you. I'd love to do some business. I'm sorry, where can I fax you at? Your business card is worthless.
I finally killed it a year and a half ago. It was just like we hadn't received a fax in years, and it was just like, why do we have this anymore? But we do have a fax number. It just goes to an email, like it scans it, and then we get an email if somebody needs to fax us. But with like the PDFs that you can just sign now, like why do you have to fax anything?
Right.
Yeah.
Who could have predicted that?
I mean, our old business model was you buy a $300 fax machine from us, and we will send you each issue page by page as we're done with it.
And we're actually taking about $200 loss on each fax machine. They were very expensive and unreliable machines, which
we made the mistake of trusting Bill Gates. That was the issue.
When we did the second cover story, the facts of life, the hard facts of life, which recounted our poor investment. People learn the whole story.
Oh,
but
the facts of life. That's very funny, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Jesse.
Took me a minute.
Wow.
Jesse.
Okay.
I just more than laugh. I just honored that joke. I honor it. That was very funny.
You did something worse. Which
is really good. Yeah. There are so many fax puns.
You did something worse than groan, which is patronizing a joke, and I would have rather you just.
No. I mean it. I really liked it. It just took me a second. I really liked it.
Factually correct. That was the third cover story we did.
Do you remember, Jesse, the fourth one when we were talking about science, and it was the headline was Matter of Facts. Remember that? Matter of Facts.
You would think that would have been about us predicting 3D printing.
No.
The matter of facts.
Actually, matter of fact.
No.
It was just us trying to convince people to buy these fax machines, which we have now marked up to over $700 because we've made a massive miscalculation.
Massive.
And I faxed a weekly advice column called "Take the Good, Take the Bad, Facts of Life."
You take them both, and there you have
the facts of life.
It was really good.
Facts of life.
Really, people loved it.
Fax it to all dozen subscribers who were worked at Relevant at the time and were forced to buy fax machines.
And I'll use that same number for the fax. So I would just send out one and 12 would print. It was amazingly efficient.
That was actually a glitch. Every fax machine would just print out a unpredictable number of those. All
right,
most of them caught on fire.
All right, four months in the making. Drum roll, please. Eddie, what do you have?
Well, I have pulled this out of the shooting ourselves in the foot file. because it's about people leaving Facebook while we Facebook stream our show. So put this together, and I apologize.
Hey, we're agnostic, man. We're going to be on Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you prefer. That's fine.
Yeah.
Wherever Bill
Periscope.
Gates would like us to be, we will be.
Well, this is the point that we're going to get to, because 2.3 billion people are on Facebook. Of course, there is heightened scrutiny from U.S. lawmakers, and there has been Facebook scandals. And in a new study, not a new study, but in the recent quarterly report from Facebook, it actually shows that people are not abandoning Facebook. According to their fourth quarter earnings, Facebook users were actually added in North America for the first time all year. So people actually came to Facebook. So despite all of the I'm quitting Facebook announcements, they're still going strong. There was a recent study conducted, and I think it was NYU and Stanford University did this really big study about really the effects on Facebook, and if it really did alter the states of people's minds. And what they did in this study is they asked people for a period of weeks just to stop using Facebook and to see what happened. Now, have any of you ever done that? Have you ever taken a hard social media break?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Or could you wait to get back? Or were you secretly wanting to get
Facebook,
back?
I don't have Facebook on my phone. I
Yeah, me
barely
neither.
check Facebook anyway. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
same.
after the first 2 days of you're constantly opening your phone and nothing being there, it's pretty excellent.
So you delete the apps from your phone? You don't just
Yeah, actually,
not pick
every
up
Wednesday on my Sabbath day, every Wednesday I delete all the apps from my phone. But the only ones that are on my phone are Twitter and Instagram. I don't have email or Facebook on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
Why do you delete
did
it? Why don't you just not click the button?
Because I'm not that self-controlled.
Oh.
Yeah, I would not do it either.
I just don't want it to be there at all.
I you know what I do every Sabbath, which for me is between the hours of 12 a.m. Sunday night and 7 a.m. Monday morning.
Wow.
I throw out my cell phone. I completely destroy it and get a new plan. I do not want the temptation. I do not need that device laying beside me during my Sabbath hour. So I destroy my cell phone. Also, real quick, Eddie, I want to get back to your slice.
No,
but Cameron, do you remember back in the good old days when we were in the fax business?
Yeah.
And we used to invoice subscribers, what we called them? Send us your fact check.
Oh gosh, fax checks.
All of it for that.
Oh, fact check.
The whole
Eddie,
interrupting
what else?
this.
Enjoying this so much.
Eddie, continue, please.
So the results of it weren't particularly the results of the study is kind of what you thought it would be. It basically, people said it reduced their knowledge of current events and changed some of their polarizing views to be a little bit more moderate. And they said that it provoked a small but significant improvement in people's self-reported happiness and satisfaction in their life.
You're saying that being on Facebook made them happier and made them report feeling more well-informed.
It was both. It was being off Facebook. I'm sorry if I said it incorrectly. Being off Facebook raised their happiness and also gave them back an average of about an hour a day. So they get an hour a day back. They were a little happier, and their views on their political views were a little less polarizing. And so all of that is pretty, that makes sense, right? That's what Facebook does.
That's a lot of extra Candy Crush. I like it. I think we should do
I know.
it.
I like that a lot. But also, people were, hold on. Have you played oh my gosh, what's that game? Oh, the one with the really funny Ryan Reynolds commercial? With the bear. Oh, Toon Blast?
No.
Cameron, that's your next one.
Oh.
Very much in the
I'm
ilk
on the new
of Candy Crush
right now. Huh.
Wait, what do you mean in the ilk of Candy Crush?
It's sort of just like puzzles that you got to figure out.
I invested in a fax-based peer-to-peer.
You're never going to get it back.
It was a words with friends type of situation.
Yeah, what was it?
It was a very long time. It was just not a great idea. But hey, you win some, you lose some, Eddie, right?
Yeah. Also,
I thought all of that was a setup for a fax pun again.
Yeah,
I thought it was another pun coming.
I've been away for a while, but I still remember how this works. So the researchers found also that people, missed Facebook for reasons that were obvious. They felt isolated. They felt like they didn't have a really clear means of communication to their friends. They found that they weren't able to participate as easily in activism kind of activities because a lot of the organization for those activities happens online. So in kind of the finale of this is the most remarkable thing that our results found is that they do not support a strong anti-Facebook narrative or a strong pro-Facebook narrative. And so at the end of the day, it was kind of a wash.
At the end of the day, just do what's right for you, right?
Do what's right for you. But I thought it was interesting because a lot of people have been making moves to get off of Facebook. Walt Mossberg, I think, the tech writer he's like a really popular tech writer. He recently quit Facebook, Instagram, maybe Twitter. Our Science Mike is like done. He signed off of Inspo because he said they're tracking. I'm not sure about Twitter, but I know Instagram
he's
and
off
Facebook,
Twitter too. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because he said they're tracking too much. So there's some other social media site that he's on that you can find him on. I don't remember the name of it.
Friendster.
That's not good.
Friendster.com.
I will say this for anyone that misses the community and the entertainment value of social media and would like to go a little off the grid. Send me your 8-digit fax number for my version of like
Eight digits.
for my version of like an HQ trivia. It's a trivia game fax called Factually Correct.
Oh, okay, factually, but it's an X.
You know, it's
HQ Trivia. Speaking of Science Mike, HQ Trivia is the one that I was like, do y'all not know they're just collecting all your data? What are you doing?
Right. So I guess the question I had and that I've been thinking about is like it's pretty hard to get off Facebook if you're at all in kind of the world that we're in, right? Because we still got to try to get people to listen to podcasts and things like that. And that's where a majority of people are. But how do you feel about this abandoning of social media? And do you feel like would you be able to handle it? Would you like it? Would you feel the loss? Just curious how you guys think about it.
On one hand, I understand how it works. I mean, there's a transaction here. I get a service and a platform that I enjoy for free. And the transaction is I'm giving you information that then you can sell for marketing purposes. Yeah. And the more information you give me, the more tailored the marketing is to me, and the more the more like, oh wow, I actually am interested in that thing, that product or service or whatever. I get the deal. My eyes are open. I don't really care. Now, are they sinister? Are they greedy? All that, whatever. I don't. For me, like, it's just why do you use social media? Like, what are you looking for? Is it filling a void? Is it whatever? I mean, for me, like, I know that there's a transaction going on, and I don't know. I'm not that worried about it. Are you guys?
Yeah, I don't. No, I mean, I feel like that's nothing is, like you said, Cameron, nothing's free. Like sometimes the non-monetary transaction, like you said, they let me have this service that does like a lot of really cool functionality and enables me to keep up with people, to upload images, to share images, to, subscribe to media outlets that I like to, all for free, and all in exchange is they ask me to be willing to provide information so that I get more targeted advertising. It seems like a relatively fair trade-off,
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious why Facebook is taking the hit now, because I remember getting my first Gmail account, and it was like back in the day when you had to wait for an invitation to Gmail, and I got my Gmail account. I signed it up, AnnieFidowns@gmail.com, right? And I remember having my mind blown because I was emailing with somebody about like a Home Depot, like a tool I was going to get at Home Depot, and then an ad for Home Depot showed up with that tool in it. And now that's just commonplace, but that blew my mind. But that was, I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe, according to Bill Gates, who knows?
The whole secrecy and privacy thing, like I'm like, I don't do anything that I mean, like if something's scanning it for Home Depot and like, I get a promotion for that tool, like I didn't say anything. I don't care. It's a robot. It's not like some human reading my emails. Like I just don't. I'm not that paranoid about it.
There's something I'm missing in all of it because we've been tracked for a long time. Every time we sign up for a CVS rewards card, every time we scan our credit card, everybody knows.
Yeah. I mean, there's facial
when
recognition.
It all started, I don't know that it felt like this. Like it does now. I feel like.
Yeah, but how is it different?
Yeah.
I don't know that it is. I think it's an amount of knowledge we have that we didn't have when it started. So that's, I think it's different. I'm not sure the behaviors are different. I just think how we feel about them is changing because it's more in the center of the conversation than it was when you signed up for your CVS card.
I'm like I love tech. I love gadgets. So like bring on the next. The wave of like augmented reality, I think is gonna be really interesting from a marketing standpoint, where you walk into a physical location like a Best Buy or a mall, and you through augmented reality get to see signs and promotions and prices
Wasn't
that are
in a movie
tailored to you, right?
Yeah,
it's tailored to you. But so to me, I'm like, great. It knows that I'm interested in wanting to get a new TV, and I'm going to get a deal on a TV because of my buying habits. Awesome. The problem is the ethics of it, right? Where it could have bias, where it prefers a certain type of customer in their store, and so they incentivize those people and not other people. That to me is where the ethics of all this gets really wonky. But it's not the tech of it being possible. It's just, what do we do with that power as we move forward? I think the ethics of technology is going to be something we need to talk more about. But the reality is if people are leaving in droves, and 30% of millennials have deleted Facebook. I mean, if there's a shift away from, what is making these companies commercially successful, it will be a wake-up call, and it might force more transparency. It might force more discussion. I mean, they're just trying to make money for their shareholders, right? So it's like, if consumers say, no, we're not okay with that, it'll probably force their hand to have to change their practices.
And I'll be interested to see what happens as the next election cycle is really amping up for the next presidential election. It'll be so interesting to see if that starts pushing people even more away from Facebook. Yeah, I would imagine it will.
My guess is that in 20 years, we're all going to be connecting on social media and buying things online. That's my guess. And I know futurist, Chandler.
Chandler's really missed you, Eddie, clearly.
Oh, Chandler's favorite.
Really missed you. He's always wished he had a big brother on the show. So he's so glad that you're finally here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, to me, I'm not scared about, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I would like some other perspective, though, because I had a feeling we would all land on this. But, I'm curious. I want... Science Mike's a pretty smart guy. I'm curious what I'm not saying we call him right now.
Someone who leaves?
Yeah, why'd they leave? Someone sensible that I know.
If it wasn't about my work, I would leave. Though it is about Science Mike's work.
As social as you are, and as much as you love connecting with people.
Facebook, I would leave. I mean, we made a list yesterday or last week. We had a big team meeting, and we made lists of things I love and lists of things I hate. And Facebook is just not my jam. If I could leave it and just delete it, I would, but I can't because of my job.
I would love to see that list.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you a picture. It's hanging up in my office.
Mike has given up SMS. I've been faxing him a lot about coming on the show, but there's quite a bit of lag time. So it's usually about a day and a half with my fax technology before he gets the message. But
anyhow, if you enjoyed this slice, make sure to like us below and comment, and let us know what you thought.
Subscribe.
Yep. All right, well, that'll do it for Slices. Stay tuned. Up next, Bob Goff joins us. This week's live podcast is brought to you by Blinkist. Being able to practice mindfulness every day is something we all want to achieve, and sometimes it can be really hard when we're overwhelmed with work and other aspects of life. There's an app I highly recommend which might help you to be more mindful every day. It's called Blinkist. Why'd you guys take the music away? I like it in the background. It's nice. Oh well.
Because you were waving your arms like a crazy person.
Well, I was doing a cue to the room, but Chandler decided to hide in a way that I couldn't see the. We're trying to figure out the hand signals.
It's like we didn't even rehearse this thing, and we just hit live, and everybody started talking.
If you guys would have taken my advice and created a series of mirrors throughout the office where you could see every angle, then we could.
What happened was the song ended. So.
What we should have is a longer one for the ad read. Here we go. Blinkist is the only app that takes the best key takeaways, the need-to-know information from thousands of nonfiction books, and condenses them down into just 15 minutes so you can read or listen to them. Blinkist is made for busy people like you who want to get the main points of the books quickly without reading the entire book. This is so perfect for me. With an audio feature, Blinkist makes it so easy to finish 4 books a day while you're on the go. 8 million people are using Blinkist right now, and it has a massive and growing library from self-help to business to health and to history books and more. I love it. I actually did The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I'd always heard about it, never read it. I read it on Blinkist in like 10 minutes. It was awesome. I also did the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, which is like 5,000 pages long, and it's sitting on my shelf for years. I finally did it on Blinkist in a few minutes. It was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for the Relevant Podcast audience. You can go to Blinkist.com/relevant to start your free 7-day trial. That's BLINKIST.com/relevant to start your free 7-day trial. There you go. Check it out.
100 days to brave. Only takes you 2 days.
2 days. That's incredible. Well, on the latest episode of Unedited, my new long-form interview podcast, activist and author of the best-selling books Love Does and Everybody Always, Bob Goff sits down for a deeply personal interview about his life, what he's learned about pursuing God's calling, and how to recharge. In this clip you're about to hear, Bob talks about avoiding burnout, the importance of self-care, and why personal authenticity is so important. Here's part of my conversation with Bob Goff. People look at your story and they go, well, I want to be that, and I want to be successful like Bob, and I want to be generous like Bob, and I want to be whatever. But they don't realize the personal pain and toll and sacrifice that it really takes,
I think so long as we can remain authentic, like those are beautiful ambitions that people have. They go, I see this thing, I want to move in that direction. But to just stay authentic enough to say, and self-aware enough to know, one thing about me is that I get really lonely when I'm going, and people would say, like, but you're the balloon guy, like you're the happy guy, like you don't, like you're always like in a ball pit somewhere or covered in balloons. And while I'm super engaged to be self-aware enough to go like, no, that actually, if I'm sitting in a hotel room here or somewhere far away, that's actually kind of, you feel really isolated. Some of us can feel like in a large crowd of people, you can feel like the only person there. Have you ever had that experience?
Oh, I can't.
Where you just feel like so isolated. And there's nobody's doing that to you. It's just like, it's a state of mind. And so I'm not trying to run from that, but to understand that and to say, so what are the next beautiful steps forward? I have this idea of the person I could be, and how do I deal with that? And part of it is getting real with it and having a couple friends you can talk to about it.
It's like people that, okay, he's on stage and everybody loves him and whatever, and not realizing that it is lonely. You're there and everybody there feels like they know you because your story is out there and they want to connect with you, and you are a large personality and you give to others selflessly. And then you go back to your hotel room and you're alone. I can't imagine how hard that would be, and the people only see the stage part of it and go, oh, that's great, I want to be like that. And they realize, no, there's a sacrifice that takes. And I think people get, when they realize sacrifice is required or the pain that's required to do the thing, like then they get discouraged, they give up on it. They give up on the dream because
that would be the message to the person that is listening. They've had this dream that's been cultivating inside their heart for decades, and then they finally get the courage to ask somebody, and Billy says no, and then they said, God shut the door. I'm like, no. Right. The only thing that happened in that transaction is that Billy said no. And I would just check some return address and say, where's that coming from? Where you could get off the scent that easily. Right. You have this beautiful thing. It's a hope and ambition. Jeff, tell everybody what your ambition is and then go after it to say, is there anything I can do to move that forward? I wouldn't make a list. I'd make a phone call. I wouldn't say there's a difference between preparing and being ready. The one thing that I would say that is typical of sevens like you and I is that we're ready. We're not spending all of our time preparing to get ready. Now, some of that happens along the way, but we're ready to go. So if somebody says, can we do this thing? I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Or if you say no, you know why you said no. Right. I'm going to learn baby CPR. Right. And so there's something, it's this taking this little groove in your brain and then going Grand Canyon with it. And then repeating these things, having these beautiful patterns that replace some of the older patterns. If you're feeling isolated, call a trusted friend to say, I know this sounds like really weird. I'm not in a crisis. I'm just feeling really isolated. I think if 747s were falling out of the sky as fast as our friends, they'd ground the whole fleet and they'd say, what's the deal? Right? They would say, and I think what happens is that these people are living in isolation and they're not calling people to say, I'm just feeling really alone in this thing. And you can be as bubbly as you want, but that's where it gets good. That's where you start carving the groove. That's where you go Grand Canyon. And so if you're listening, take your big ambition. You'll know you're talking to the right person because they won't try to fix you and they won't try to tell you what to do with your ambition. They'll just be so delighted in it. They'll ask you, what's your next step? What are the things that you're going to do? And is there any way I can be helpful? I think if we change that to say just delighting in one another and then saying, is there something I can help you do? If a friend calls and they need some help, I'm in. If it's within my power to do it, I'm going to do it. Absolutely.
How do you recharge?
Well, one thing is the time up at the lodge, and as tedious as it is.
So for the 9 months, you go because you know the 3 months is coming.
Yeah. Really, it's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
If there are 6 days that I'm not speaking somewhere, I'm in Afghanistan.
And you put hard boundaries on the summer, on the recharge season.
Yeah. Now during the summer, we do include people like good guys, bad guys, and undecided. So we'll bring some people that seem like they're a little on the edge of like going good or bad. And they oftentimes will be from a different country and they're affecting millions of lives. And so like that would be a great way to spend a couple days. Yeah. To have them come up and just walk through some waterfalls and talk a little bit, bring one of their adversaries up with them. And if you have a reputation for being Switzerland, you just don't have all these attitudes. And the underlying idea is I don't want people to meet my opinions. I want them to meet Jesus. And we can meet them by not making everything a Bible study. Like literally just chill out. Just be, everything isn't a teachable moment. Just be with people. And that's a great place for me to do that. And I think as I look like next, Bob, I'll spend more and more time up there.
Now, in the day-to-day, how do you recharge? In the 9 months where it's go, go, go?
Yeah, what I'll do is, for instance, today I had a little bit of time. So first I respond to everybody that's reached out to me. And then I spend some time on myself saying, what are the things I'm curious about? What can I do to push it forward? And so I have a couple things every day that I'm curious about, and I push those forward. I don't make lists and lists and lists. I make calls and calls and calls. And then I say, is there an opportunity? And is that something that matches a capability? Like I know how to write books. And so I spend part of the day like just riffing on that. I just write sentences and every once in a while a paragraph and every once in a while those turn into chapters. But I'll just kind of catch these experiences like they come by when something happens. I actually want to think about that. I had something kind of funny happen every year when we're going to the lodge. I get this old Suburban of ours. I put the trailer on the end, and I'm always hauling up a bunch of stuff. And so, have you ever had it happen where you don't remember if you turned off the oven or locked the door or whatever? Well, I'm about 100 miles up the highway, and I couldn't remember putting a latch on the trailer. And I didn't hit the brakes. I pumped the brakes. I got off the side camera. The trailer wasn't latched. Now, it looked like it was connected to the car, but I was one bump in the road away from having that thing pass me in the fast lane. And I think that's a great kind of cautionary tale for each of us. We can look like we're hooked up without being hooked up. And so that idea of whatever version of self-care, whatever it is that gets you centered, whatever it is that fuels your joy, like make some time to put a latch on it.
Man, that was good. Hey, for the rest of that conversation, you can listen. Go download the episode of Unedited. It's out now. The full conversation with Bob Goff. You don't want to miss it. He's my hero, Annie. Right?
I saw it. I saw it in person. I saw him be your hero.
Oh yeah, that's true. I do fanboy around him, don't I?
No. I didn't think you were embarrassing. I just saw that how much it mattered to you that you got to be with him. I think it was beautiful.
It was weird when you wouldn't let go of the hug.
Yeah, that's the only part that got weird. Is
and
when
he was
you,
like pushing, and he asked Annie's help.
It's when you kept eating food off his plate just so you could do that. That was weird.
That's why Unedited isn't a video podcast, because I was sitting in Bob's lap when we did that interview. So.
Gross.
Yeah. It was really interesting listening to the interview, but also watching Facebook Live. Like this is so different because we're used to recording the show and then hearing the echo back a couple days later. But like Emily Rose, who just like is like quoting it in real time as we're watching it. It was so interesting. So anyhow, thanks all for watching.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Hey, well, stay tuned. Up next, we have our a very special listener game coming up. Stay tuned. Hey, you notice one of the other changes with our Tuesday show versus our Friday show, not real music. I mean, it's real music, but it's not like the brand new songs we find every week and stuff like that, because YouTube and all the video streaming services would block us basically. So we have to do original music. That theme music you heard at the beginning of the show, Jesse, one guess who the musician was who did our new Tuesday theme music.
Was it Blinkist 182?
No.
From the comments.
No, it was
Jeremiah Dunlop.
It was literally Aaron Sprinkle. Remember Aaron
Really?
Sprinkle? Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Tooth and Nail Records. He produced a lot of the great Tooth and Nail Records albums of all time.
Yeah.
But especially in the heyday, Aaron Sprinkle, and I think I may be butchering this, but I think Father John Misty lived in his basement or something for a time. Isn't that what he said in the interview, back in Seattle back in the day?
Yep, that's right. That's right. Father John Misty, when he dropped out of Christian college, moved to Seattle, lived with Aaron Sprinkle, was drumming on Tooth and Nail albums like what's that hard rock one?
Demon Hunter.
Yeah, and some other projects that Aaron was producing. Father John Misty was the drummer on those tracks because he was living in his basement for a year there in Seattle. But anyway, Aaron Sprinkle did the new Tuesday Relevant Podcast live theme song. It's pretty cool.
Well, how about that?
Yep. Okay. I know nothing about this game. I know nothing about the tech of how this is going to happen. So I will throw it over to you, Jesse.
All right. And like I said, we are on the tightrope without a net, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be doing a lot of this tech live. But I want to tell you the concept of the game.
Okay.
I'm very excited about this game as I was putting it together yesterday. It's a little high concept, but I think I can tell you, I think I can articulate why, the origins of this game. The game is called the Championship Champion. Okay? The Championship Champion. We all watched the Super Bowl, I assume. And we were all subjected to a humiliating halftime show for all parties involved.
Oh, my goodness.
Like America had to listen to Maroon 5, okay? On the biggest, we had to see Adam Levine remove his tank top and swivel his hips as if anyone cared about Maroon 5. It was horrible, and it's caused us to ask the question, how can this be avoided in the future?
Oh, wow.
And I have the answer.
Oh.
It's to find an entertainer who is equal parts theatrical entertainer, has a positive message, that has pipes like you wouldn't believe, and also will appeal specifically to sports fans. Those are the criteria.
You are very passionate about this. You are as passionate as
I've thought about it a long
as
time.
Bill Gates in 1999.
During
Also, I think there could have been people on the planet who didn't hate Maroon 5.
Well,
are you saying you?
Yeah,
no, I didn't think it was such a hot take. Sometimes Jesse brings his opinions as a national decision, whereas it's more his opinion.
One, it is. Two, I have drank 2 more Starbucks double shot tall boys during the Bob Goff interview.
I will say I was neutral on Maroon 5 until Big Boy came out, and then it's like, no, you can't go back to Maroon 5. Yeah. Like, that guy's the best.
Wait a minute, why are they going back to Maroon 5? We had Travis Scott. Either way, we can argue about it another time, because when you hear my suggestion, Annie, you will concede, okay, it's perfect. Okay. The obvious answer to be the Super Bowl halftime entertainer in perpetuity.
Oh,
forever.
Every year. Wow.
Every year is Carmen. Here's why. Have you watched a Carmen video? They're basically Super Bowl halftime shows.
That's true.
This is a prediction I could have made.
Bill Gates said this.
But you're like, okay, but Carmen is a Christian music singer whose heyday was in the early 90s, late 80s. How will he appeal to massive fans of sporting events? That's what this game will. That's what this will prove. Okay, Annie, you are going to be playing against the listener.
Oh.
And you have to tell me, this shows why Carmen would be the perfect Super Bowl halftime singer. This may be the dumbest idea ever. But
I am so confused.
Here's how it's going to work.
The lengths that you will go to get from A to B is unbelievable.
I am going to read a few lines. You have to tell me, is it from a famous inspirational sports speech, or is it a line from a Carmen hit? One of many from a hit catalog. Listen, if you get the answer wrong, There will be a buzzer. If you get it right, there will be a crowd cheer. I think the guys in the sound room, I'm throwing that at them right now. No,
they are sweating.
I did that.
Well,
no,
I'm playing against a listener.
And we're going to bring Emily on in just a sec. But here's the deal, Annie. If it's a Carmen song, we're actually going to hear the piece of the song where the lines come from. All right. Are you clear on the rule, Annie?
Are we going to hear the speech?
Yes. I'll read
not all of them.
Some of these are recorded.
So,
okay.
We got clips.
Emily, are you on Skype? Are you joining us now?
Yes, I'm here.
Wow. Emily Jordan.
Emily, I sent out a tweet that I said, give me a reason. This was to the listeners at home. I said, give me a reason why someone out there should play the game. Emily, you have listened to every episode of the Relevant Podcast since day one. Is that correct?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
At one point, I thought about calculating how many hours, days, weeks of my life I have spent listening, and then I realized I probably don't want to know.
Emily, I haven't even listened to every episode of the Relevant Podcast. Wow.
Yeah.
Emily, did you hear the?
Hold on, Jesse. Wait, just 1 second. Emily, this is Eddie.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you. Emily, what's your last name?
Wait,
Jordan.
why are you asking her to do that? What if she doesn't want to say her last name?
It's Emily Jordan.
I'm Eddie Koffoltz. What's the big
Yeah,
deal?
but she didn't sign up for everybody to follow her all over the planet. Emily, you don't have to say your last
Emily,
name.
real
It's a
quick,
personal choice.
If you could give us your last name in the last four of your
I just didn't know if we'd ever met.
social.
I didn't know if we'd ever met before. I didn't know if we
So
were
maybe
like
ask for
online
her
friends.
Instagram handle or something, or Twitter handle versus
That's
tell
not-
us your full name.
That's not weirder? Okay, Emily, what's your social? Just a quick.
If you can fax us,
It is 1, 2, 3,
Eddie has a
4,
fax machine
5,
behind
6,
us.
7,
Just
8,
send over
9.
your person.
I'm trying to make a friend here, Annie.
Hey,
I'm doing the best I
Okay,
can.
so but before we get into it, Emily, now did I miss it? Emily, where are you calling us from?
I live in northern Mississippi, outside of Memphis.
Second question, why?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Rock shit in Memphis.
My husband.
Oh, okay.
I'm a northern girl, and he's a southern boy, and
It sounds
the
like
weather
a-
went out, so we live in the south.
That sounds like a
Sounds
Bruce
like a John
Springsteen.
Mellencamp
I was gonna say, there you go. She's gonna be good with lyrics. I can tell already.
I know. I feel like she has an edge. Emily, you are on the line when I explain the rules, correct?
Yes.
How confident do you feel about beating Annie in this game, knowing that you have hundreds of hours of psychological preparation for facing off with her? How confident do you feel that you're going to beat her in this game?
Oh, man. Well, I was running around my house like I was just called down on Price is Right, so I am pumped and ready to go.
Annie, how intimidated are you by Emily right now?
Enthusiasm does not equal skill.
Oh,
okay, all right.
Snap.
Fighting words.
The
Also,
gauntlet
please
has
don't
been
use
thrown,
Annie's
all
last
right.
name. Just Annie.
You can
last
use my last name. I just didn't want poor Emily to have to throw her whole life in front of you just because
Yeah.
you asked her awkwardly for her last name.
Good luck with the onslaught of social media attention you're going to get because we know your very common last name. But
Well,
yeah,
I
keep
currently
going,
have about
Annie.
14
Annie
Twitter
F.
followers,
Last name redacted.
so-
And we know where your
Yeah,
husband's
I
from.
can maybe
Okay,
use a couple more.
Cameron, I'm assuming you're going to be keeping score for us.
Yeah, I have Command Central set up. I have the
Yeah.
scoreboard right here.
I literally have nothing to do, so I'm just going to mess around, right?
Emily, you are the guest, so I will let you go first. So you have to tell me, is this a line from a famous inspirational sports speech or a Carmen lyric? Emily, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. You were meant to be here tonight. This is your time. Their time is done. It's over. Inspirational sports speech or
Was Carmen
lyric?
singing about demons? That's the question. Because there's a lot of
well-
songs where he's singing about demons.
Most of them are about demons or America. I will say that.
I usually find these things, whatever I think it should be, I'm going with the opposite. So it sounds like a sports speech, so I'm going with Carmen.
The next line is, I'm sick and tired of hearing about what a great hockey team the Soviets have. I'm sorry, that's her.
Be here
Miracle on Ice.
tonight.
It's a slow speech.
This clip is going to get us banned from YouTube. Is it
Oh
worth
my
it?
gosh.
All right, fair.
Okay. All right. All right, Annie.
I'm ready.
I want to tell you how you can go the extra mile. Coming so far by faith, it is time to cross the finish line with style.
Yeah,
Don't
Carmen.
say it can't be done.
Carmen.
Chandler, the answer, please. That's our Super Bowl halftime performer, Carmen. All right, one more.
Emily, let me just tell you this real quick, Emily, just as a tip.
Yeah.
Have time. Don't worry. The last question's usually worth like 100 points. You're gonna win this.
You're
and
gonna
I'm
win.
reading.
Yeah, don't worry.
I
So
care
you're
about
gonna find a way for me to lose. It's gonna be rude.
Oh, I'm not scared.
survive.
I'm crafting
Yeah.
a great comeback narrative here.
How many? Hey, Jesse, I don't even know. How many rounds do we have?
Oh gosh, it'll be.
We can do 5 rounds. We can do 5 rounds and a tiebreaker if necessary. Or we can do 4. Okay, Emily.
5
Or we can
Let's play it by
Okay.
ear. Let's play it by ear.
Okay,
Right
let's
now,
play by
after
ear,
round
yeah.
1,
I
Annie
got up
1,
to
Emily
5.
0.
Up to 5. Okay, Emily, when your time is running out and everyone sees you're going down, you've got to have the heart of a champion.
Carmen.
Chandler, the answer, please.
Yes. Good one, Emily.
This is his salsa thing. This is the salsa era of Carmen.
The salsa era, as opposed to his hip hop era.
Right.
No,
His
listen.
epic-
Having listened to a lot of Carmen songs yesterday, he kind of went with whatever the trend. He was like 1 year behind the trend. So like that was like when Ricky
1
Martin
year?
was big 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He did Heart of the Champion.
Okay, got
When
it.
like when like hip hop became a thing, that's when he did DC Talk. He had a
Right.
country face too. Okay, Annie.
I'm ready.
Since this nation was founded under God more than 200 years ago, we've been a bastion of freedom, the light which keeps the world aglow.
Oh, I know this one.
That
Look inside
is.
your heart, Annie. Look
That's
deep
a
in your.
speech.
Justin-
That's a sports competition speech.
Justin,
Unbelievable. I thought that was going to mess people up. That is Jack Buck's Joe Buck's father's famous poem that he read live after 9/11. Wow. Annie, you appear to be running away with this. Emily, how confident are you now?
running away. It's 2-1.
I'm
It's-
only up by 1.
Yeah.
I've got her right where I want her.
First of all, y'all need to be watching the live stream comments because Justin Smith just said we need him, or I only listen to Christian salsa. Somebody else suggested that Chandler should be the center square on the feed.
Oh, I wish he was. I
yeah.
would like to see Chandler.
Yeah, that's all right. We took him
All
off.
right.
There isn't a center square.
Emily,
Yeah.
Yeah, good add-on,
Make
Chandler.
one.
We really should have
I was about to say
camera.
that there isn't one, so that's not possible.
No,
Emily.
you're
Yeah.
saying we should make one.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. All right.
Jeez Louise.
Emily, this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one. There's not much here, but I wanted it to be a hard one. If you fall and should get hurt, remember these eternal words.
Uncle Carm has you in the palm of his hand.
Sports speech or Carmen lyric, Emily?
It's an audio medium, just FYI.
If you
Memphis. Here, I'll fill in the blanks. From Memphis, she misses being up north, but she and her husband had to split
What
the
do you
difference.
think, Emily? Lean
I'm
on
gonna
your
go
John Mellencamp
sports
origin
speech.
story. That's a Carmen song. He had a guest vocalist in that time, ladies and gentlemen. So
Okay, you can fade that down now.
It's really rough to listen.
okay.
His
All right.
falsetto is like Levine, Adam Levine's. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
actually
And
Carmen
Game
singing?
level.
No, that was
Yeah.
the featured artist.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
But what people don't know in the video, Carmen took his shirt off there.
And has Carmen tattooed across his stomach.
Yeah, that's right. That's what
That
it
would be
was.
amazing.
And just as Carmen in various fonts all over
Yeah.
his torso.
Oh, it's
Annie.
definitely Greek or
Annie.
something.
Annie's undefeated right now. She's got
it's
2
about
for 2.
a total change of mind. Don't wait too late. You may run out of time. Stand tall. Stand strong.
Carmen.
Wow, it's so definitive.
Unbelievable. Chandler, answer please.
Oh, this is hard.
This is when he collaborated with CC Talk.
Man.
Stand tall, stand tall, stand tall.
Emily, don't worry. You can get back in this right now. Okay. Look up. Get up. Don't ever get up. You tell everyone or anyone who has ever doubted, thought they did not measure up, or want to quit, you tell them, look up, get up. Don't ever give up. Carmen or sports speech?
It's a strange rhyme scheme to it.
That's,
I'm not sure if that
gotta
helps
be
or
a song
hinders.
lyric, so I'm going Carmen.
I'm sorry, that's Michael Irvin's Hall of
I was
Fame.
going to say, Emily, you said if it
decided to
sounds
rap.
like one, it's the
gotta
other
go with
one.
the other one,
Yeah.
I know. It's not working out for me. My strategy's
Annie
not
has a
working.
look of confidence. She has this confident smirk on her
Yeah,
face.
a little
like,
cocky.
She's like, this is a victory lap. All right, Annie. God has never made a mistake. It ain't about one play. God has never made a mistake. It ain't about one play.
I will tell you, the Facebook Live community is strongly with you, Emily. They are rooting for you hardcore.
Oh,
Annie,
I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that, Eddie. I think you're tipping the scale a little bit.
It's Eddie leaving comments.
All right. Annie, God has never.
That is a So read it to me one more time, Jess.
God has never made a mistake. It ain't about one play.
That's got to be sports speech.
That is a famous locker room talk by none other than Ray Lewis. Sorry, Cameron, what's the score? What
the
do we got
score
right now?
after 4 rounds is Annie 4, Emily 1. Emily won. Good news for Emily, this 5th round worth 17 points. 17
I don't have a tiebreaker,
points.
so I got 2 more. So this could be for the win here, Emily. Searching for the slightest scent of blood, for when the skin of my resistance is broken, he moves in swiftly to deepen the cut.
Oh my goodness.
Blood and cut, demons, Rams. I think
boxing, MMA. I don't know. I'm just saying it could be any. It could be Carmen. It could
like
be
Tim
spiritual warfare.
Tebow.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Emily?
I'm thinking. I'll go back to my strategy. I'm thinking Carmen, so I will say sports speech.
Chandler, answer, please.
Everybody's rooting for you.
Searching for the slightest scent
Oh.
of blood.
Oh, Emily.
I
Here's
had-
my problem, Jesse. I was thinking you were going to go Michael W. Smith, and I know all of his lyrics.
Hey, next time. I
I mean,
think
Michael
he's
W.
ready for the
Smith
Super Bowl.
doesn't have the theatrics that Carmen has. Carmen
I was
has
not prepared for Carmen. I didn't grow up with Carmen,
Thematic,
so I'm
yeah.
feeling a little unprepared.
I
here.
believe that song that we just heard, I heard during it was a special during an offering when I was a child in church.
Michael W. Smith
Every
is only
head,
available
every head
for
bow,
presidential
every eye
funerals.
closed. Yeah.
Why don't we give Annie one for just good luck, see if she can go undefeated. She's 4 for 4 right now.
Annie, how confident you feel you're going to get this last one? You feel? I feel like you
Let's just
figured.
read it. Let's just read it and see how it goes.
Okay. It's Jesus Christ, his people, his family. It's your sons and daughters, your brothers and sister. It's what makes me excited today.
That's a sports speech.
Unbelievable!
Wow.
Five
Wow.
Wow. Hall of Fame
Wow.
NFL speech. Good job, Emily.
Wow.
I mean, I
Emily.
can't beat that. Come on now.
Yeah.
5
I know,
out of
Emily, I
5.
kind of feel like you need about another 700 hours of listening to the podcast.
I know. Can you keep it going for 15 more years for me? And I'll come back on then.
Yeah, because that's what we
try.
want. A bunch of people in their mid-50s and 60s just farting around for an hour a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody, the
hour,
Facebook
right.
Live comments are really funny during that. Like coming into the last question, Ross King said, Emily needs a motivational speech here. Like, oh man, that was fun. Emily, thanks for joining us and thanks for listening for so long. That's so crazy. I mean,
Thank you.
a lot's happened.
Emily, I'm so sorry about the last name thing. I feel terrible. Good luck with
It's
all
fine.
the invasions of privacy.
It's fine. You can make it up to me by following me on Twitter, Emily Liz Jordan.
There
You know,
go.
I think I'm fine.
Get that
Thanks for
plug.
listening.
Oh man, I'm gonna be stuck at 14 followers forever.
Emily Liz Jordan.
Emily,
that
you're a
is
good
her
sport.
Twitter name.
You're
Yeah.
a good sport.
She was-
Well done, Emily.
Well, she wasn't a good sport. I mean, she wasn't good, but she was a good sport.
All right.
That
Right.
that
All right. See, this is what we
Annie,
edited out.
Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for listening.
much.
Thanks for calling in.
Thanks.
All
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, that's what's gonna happen here on the live show. As you guys get to join us, and it'll be a lot of fun. We're not gonna do a game about Carmen every week. Don't worry, we'll mix it up. But
well, it's not the show if we don't, but sure, we can change it.
Wait, we're not? Because I have spent a tremendous amount of time preparing in the last 6 months. So Cameron, we'll need to do some talks about those clips I sent you.
we're coming in on a hard hour and a half. I thought the live thing would go a little faster, but
Did you?
No, I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew this
did
was
you
gonna
really?
happen.
well, I mean, our recordings are usually an hour and a half, and then we put out an hour-long show. People don't realize how much we cut out. Unfortunately, now you get all of it. So that's just on Tuesdays. Fridays, we're
You
still
really
gonna.
controlled yourself on the jokes, though, Cam.
Following Emily.
Well, I had some
Done.
tech issues that I was dealing with, so I was distracted. Next week,
Next week, you're going to bring all your hot gallows jokes.
yeah, oh my gallows. Hey, many
Get
things.
the bleep button ready.
Oh, we need one of those, like a mute or a beep line. We should
Or a 5-second delay or
a
something.
5-second. I like it.
And we need a little graphic to go over one of our cubes so one of us can be put like in the penalty
Right.
box.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea, Jesse.
We'll work on it.
We actually we're like video elements and like bumps and little themes and stuff like that. We're still working on. We're gonna keep adding things to this show, the video show. It'll be a lot of fun. Hey, thanks to everybody who's been watching live on Facebook. Thousands of people have been watching and hundreds of people have been commenting. There's like 500 comments as we've been going. It's been a lot of fun watching you guys interact with each other and with us.
Eddie, though, that's the real question.
Eddie,
100%.
Eddie only had to pipe in about
his burner accounts.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Eddie just kept piping in about every 10 minutes saying, "I'm not John David. I'm Eddie. I'm Eddie. I'm back." So, hey, thanks to Bob Goff for joining us today. Check out the current episode of Unedited, our long-form interview podcast. Bob joins me this week. If you missed the last episode where Annie and I talked, go download it. It was incredible. Annie was amazing. So go check out Unedited. Also check out Bob's.
Yesterday, he said something about it to us, Cameron. I love how people keep telling us when they listen. It's really sweet.
It's really cool.
Great episode. It was a great episode.
Check out Bob's books, Everybody Always and Love Does. And if you got a little one, his new book, Love Does for Kids. My son Cohen absolutely loved it. Make sure to get that. But follow him on Twitter at Bob Goff. If you haven't science mic'd us and gotten off of Twitter, follow Bob at Bob Goff.
Send him a fax at 8889-217-43 # 772 *8*. And he can't wait to hear from you.
Oh my God.
Man, that just lives in your brain.
You can always go home again.
*8*. Hey, thanks to Blinkist for sponsoring the episode. You can go to Blinkist.com/relevant to start your 7-day free trial. That's BLINKIST.com/relevant to start your free 7-day trial.
I read War and Peace during that game with Blinkist, so that was awesome.
Hey, if you like the show and you want to go and get some swag or something, there's mugs, there's hats, there's shirts and stuff at the Relevant store, store.relevantmagazine.com. Go check that out. Annie, we just all saw you yawn and suppress a sneeze on the video stream. That was.
I did, but I went way far down.
A little behind the scenes there. It was fun.
I took the elevator down to my other office. Stay tuned for the visual gag after show where I'll be taking an escalator and a set of stairs down. You don't want to miss it.
All right, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Chandler Strang.
That's Clark.
I'm Jesse Carey.
We did not rehearse this. I'm Eddie. Go ahead, Annie.
And I'm Annie F. Down.
We will see you guys on Friday. Thanks for tuning in.